Poomer Premium Handkerchief.
This edition of the red carpet, I have with me Vivek Oberoi. He's really hot in South India. Yes, after Lucifer, he is here in Kadua. Welcome to the show.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
As the antagonist, you shine, man. Yeah? Whether it's Inside Edge or Lucifer and the trailer of Kadua, you are there.
Well, you know, I enjoy playing. Firstly, thank you for the very warm welcome, and it's great to be on your show on Red Carpet. It's definitely considered to be one of the best shows in southern India. So it's an honor for me also to be here and to connect with all your wonderful viewers watching this. So, namaskar and vanakkam. So Siri, it's great to be here, and like you said, the antagonist. It's a lot of fun playing these grey, complex characters, complex characters like in Lucifer with Lal Layton, with Prithvi directing it, and now Prithvi is acting in Kaduva, and Shaji Kailas, one of the legendary directors.
He's a very big commercial director.
He's huge, and Kaduva was, the thought process itself was to do something slightly larger than life and have fun with it. Two men, like testosterone boosting men, like bulls, clashing against each other. It was a lot of fun.
And you excel in these kind of macho roles?
I think it has its space. I do enjoy other challenging roles, softer roles, very honest and simpler characters also are fun to play. But what I loved, or what I tried to achieve with the help of Jeenu, the writer, and with Shaji Chetan, I tried to bring to my character Joseph a duality. Right? So rather than making him a simplistic antagonist, right, made him the hero of his own world. So I worked towards his relationship with his mother, for example. It's a very beautiful and strong relationship. His relationship with his wife, with his child, with his children. He's a good father. He's a good husband. He's not somebody who drinks alcohol, has affairs with other women. He's a nice guy.
He's a good cop.
He's basically a God-fearing Christian. He's a good cop. He's a good fellow all round.
In Malayalam, we'll call it a Pala Achayan.
Pala Achayan. I like the word.
A beautiful way they put it. That Christian, background and the roots are there.
And so all of that is there. It is one thing about Kurvachan, about Kaduva, that offends him. It is just that one thing. It sparks. It's like a spark. If either of those two guys had said sorry to each other, there would be no film. It would have been over. The story would have been over. The thing is, men, unlike women, have very big egos. And once you are men in power, whether it's the power of system, whether it's the power of money, whether it's power of fame, it's like a drug. That ego mixed with that power, it'll make you do all kinds of things. And I think Joseph starts to take decisions using his power, his position, for a personal reason. And Kaduva, takes it from one level to the other. And this guy gives it back at another level. So it keeps escalating into a war. What would have been a simple, superficial issue, something you could have just sorted like that, ends up becoming an all-out war between these two guys. And that was interesting to play. Because he has his own side, he has his own reason, he has his own understanding. It's not just frivolous.
I think the characterization is very strong. And the writers have done a wonderful job. And both Prithiviraj and your role are equally, they're perfect foils to each other.
I mean, because it's a larger-than-life commercial film, you have one as the hero, one as the villain, which is a typical format. But when you see the movie, if you decide in your mind and you say, wait, hold on, I want to see this movie from Joseph's perspective, you will come out saying, he's right. He didn't do anything wrong. It was because he started it. Kaduva started it. That's why Joseph did this. You can actually look at it, and that's the smartness of that writing. Unfortunately, in Hindi, even in Tamil, you don't have that freedom, at least in the big star movies. You can't.
No.
Because of that idolization, you feel, no, how can this be? The beauty of Malayalam cinema is you can play. You can do all these things and get away with it. And that's why I enjoy it.
The characters with shades of grey I mean, they have justified in the story.
Correct. Like Lal Aiton in Lucifer.
Yeah.
Right? So you're not always doing the right thing or taking the right decisions. Maybe the
I
overall
think
goal.
Lucifer was one of your best movies.
Thank you. Thank you.
No,
it was a
because,
difficult character. It's a very, very dark character. I remember.
Very dirty character.
Correct.
But the way it came out on screen, the natural process, the way.
And it is supposed to shock you. It is supposed to surprise you. See, when Raju called me, he called me and I was shooting, he was shooting. He was shooting somewhere in Manali, in Himachal. And he said, bro, I really want you to do this film for me. So I said, okay, come, let's sit down, let's do a narration. He said, bro, I can't come because I'm shooting. So I said, why don't you just tell me the story on the phone? So first time in my career of 20 years, I took a narration on the phone. Otherwise, you never do something like that, right? You're going to decide. On the phone itself, I liked it and I started discussing with him. I said, Raju, we should play Bobby like somebody who's so stylish, so cool, so much panache and style and so much class that you'll never expect what is behind that class to be so evil or so, dirty. And that was the fun combination of the two, As an actor, I keep trying to do that.
The human relationship also played a very important role in that movie.
Like his relationship with Manju, my character with Manju, my wife in the film, was a very interesting one. You see a relationship where she thinks he is the greatest thing that has happened to her, to the culmination of the relationship realizing she is married to the devil.
The devil incarnation.
So that is the fun part of playing with these characters, and I was very lucky to have got
in
great...
Kadua also you have a pair in Priyanka.
Yeah, she's lovely and she's very sweet,
She plays your wife? Or?
Yeah, she plays my wife. And it was very sweet of Priyanka because Priyanka plays the lead in so many films. She's a very well-established actress, and even though there wasn't much in terms of minutes, because it's mainly a film about two guys, but she was very sweet. She said, no, I want to do this for Vivek. I want to work with him once. And she told me this personally. It was lovely, very touched to hear that. And she did that because there were 2-3 critical scenes in that, Mr. Pillai. It means very important scenes where even a strong man, a powerful man, when he's going through his moment of weakness, how he leans on his wife, how he leans on his woman. And you realize that, you're seeing a villain by any regular means, but you also see a husband, you also see a flawed man leaning on his woman, leaning on his wife in times that are difficult and bad for him. So I liked that balance.
How are the action scenes in Kadua?
Yeah,
because the trailer looks fantastic.
Yeah, outstanding. I think Prithvi, I'm very proud of him. He's like a younger brother to me. We have transcended, the relationship has become so much like a family that it was very difficult for me to pull out the dates for Kaduva. Because of COVID, everything moved. And at one point I said, I don't know if I'll be able to give you these dates. But he insisted. And the thing about him is I can't say no to him. So we did it, and the kind of action he has done in the film is amazing. And Kanal Kannan, who's an old friend of mine, who's one of the most talented action directors, combined with Chaji Chetan, the kind of action we shot for the climax was crazy. So remember I told you, it was like two bulls banging each other. But I didn't realize that we are actually going to shoot the climax among real bulls. So we shot that climax over 6 or 7 nights. All night, every night, we were shooting the massive fight sequence. Huge scale. We were shooting that in Kerala. And it was massive. We were smashing things, banging each other. And after every shot, because we get along so well, we were sitting, chatting like brothers. Action! Jumping and pouncing and tearing up each other, smashing each other into things. But it was good, like in Hindi, we have a word, tucker. It was proper tucker, and that was fun.
Now, Tamil cinema.
Yeah.
You did a wonderful movie,
Vivekam.
and with the biggest star of them all, Ajith, sir.
Yeah. Ajith Anna was an amazing guy to work with. I think it's so funny. I keep telling Prithvi, I see a lot of similarities between Ajith Anna and Prithvi. Their dedication, their commitment, their passion. I'll tell you one amazing story about Ajith Anna. We're shooting two amazing things. Two amazing reasons why I love Ajith Anna. One, we are shooting in minus 16, 17 degrees in the heart of winter in Bulgaria. Everybody's like this. Everybody's like this throughout the shoot, right? My first day, they're freezing in the first day. My entire unit, my team has come from Bombay. And they've never seen any movies of Ajit Kumar. But they've heard he's the star, he's Ajith Anna, he's a very big hero in South. We're standing there, everybody's rubbing their hands like this. Suddenly Ajith Anna comes with a kettle of tea and glasses in his hand. And he starts to pour one. He pours one and he gives it to me.
Wow.
I am overwhelmed with his humility. Okay, I understand, one star to another star. But after that, he pours 3 more glasses to my entire team, my makeup man, my boy, everybody. He pours a glass to and he gives it to. All of us were just amazed with his humility. And he is like that naturally, even when the camera is not on. Okay. Not in front of people, not in front of media, but that is him. I love the man. He's a heart of gold, absolute humility. The second thing I love about his discipline. I remember we were shooting in Serbia, action sequence in the middle of a cave. Very, very tough. Me and Kajal were shooting. Again, great person to work with. Loved working with her. He didn't even have a single shot that day. He rode 45 minutes on his bike to the location. I said, "You're not shooting today. What are you doing here?" He said, "What will I do sitting in the hotel?" I said, "I'm here. It's my movie. It's my set. This is what I'm supposed to do. I'm given these dates for this film. So I'm here. If they need me, they'll call me." Can you imagine? A man at his superstardom having that humility, commitment and dedication. I love the man. I love him from my heart.
Will you be working with him again?
Anytime he calls me. See, with people like Prithiviraj, like, okay, when I do a movie in the South, if you look at money and if you look at effort, the effort is more because I am trying to communicate in a language that does not come naturally to me, right? Hindi is very easy for me. But if I have to do in Tamil, I have double the homework because I'm very particular. I don't do 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. I don't like doing that. I don't like just mumbo jumbo. I like to learn the lines. I like to understand the pauses. I sit with the assistants. I go through everything and I do my homework. I feel if you're going to shoot in somebody else's language, you must give that language the love and respect it deserves. Every language should be given the respect it deserves. So I work very hard. Money side, I make more money doing Hindi any day. But it is purely the love and fascination for the kind of subjects, the discipline and the work environment in South India that I like to do South Indian movies. So when a Prithiviraj calls me, it may not be commercially as much as I make in Hindi. It may be twice the effort as I have to do in Hindi. But I will still come and do it. When an Ajith Anna calls me, I will come walking on my hands to do a film with him. Because I love the man. He has bought me not with money, not with fame, but with love.
Fabulous. Your mom is from South?
She's from Chennai, yes. My father is a Punjabi married to a girl from Chennai. I'm again a Punjabi married to a girl from Bangalore. So I think the men in our family love the women of South India.
Okay. And do you follow South Indian cinema?
Of course. I love South Indian cinema. I've grown up with these great stars as my icons. So whether it's Rajni sir, Kamal sir, in the contemporaries, Ajith Anna is there. I love Vijay's work.
So do you see all these?
Surya's work, Karti's work, Dhanush's work. I watch all the cinema. I watch their cinema, even the newer, younger guys. I love Vijay Sethupathi, for example. I think he's a phenomenal actor. So I really enjoy watching their films, and I watch a lot of Southern cinema.
Okay. And have you watched Vikram?
I haven't. I want to watch it actually. Yeah. I've been hearing so much about it. I'm so happy for Kamal sir, you know. After so long, he's doing what we all loved watching him doing. I'm not sure, but I think, is it the same Vikram that he had made many, many years ago?
No.
Is it based on the same film or is it brand new?
Brand new.
But it's the same character.
Yeah.
It's an extension of the character.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like what Tom Cruise did with Top Gun after many years.
Yeah, many.
Yeah, I've been
Different story, different setup.
I'm a big fan of Kamal sir's work, and I'm so happy that he's doing so well, and I definitely want to see Vikram in the theatres.
Okay. And tell us something about, your Hindi work.
Yeah.
Like Inside.
Yeah, so Inside Edge was very successful by the grace of God. It's actually been dubbed into multiple languages now, Indian and international. If I'm not mistaken, Inside Edge is now available in more than 25 languages across the world. It's a globally successful show. 1, 2 and 3 have done phenomenally well, season 1, 2 and 3. Even in countries that don't play cricket, people have watched it and loved it. So it became India's first Emmy-nominated show, which was a big sense of honor for us. We lost to Money Heist in the international arena, but it was amazing. And post that, I've been busy. Aside from Kadua, it's really strange. In 20 years of my career, I never played a cop. Suddenly, I'm playing so many cops, right? So I ended up playing cop in Kadua. I ended up playing cop in my show for MX Player called Dharavi Bank, which is a very exciting series being made at a very large scale, where I play the protagonist and Sunil Shetty, Anna, plays the antagonist.
Okay.
And it's basically...
It's set in Mumbai.
It's set in Dharavi.
Dharavi.
So it's about a washed up, depressed, alcoholic cop finding his mission, finding his purpose, finding himself through this crazy enmity with a very, very powerful gang lord.
Okay.
So it's an amazing, I loved shooting it. This is a great experience. Should release hopefully by September, October. We're doing the post-production now.
What's your reaction?
Now I'm shooting for Rohit Shetty, Indian Police Force.
That is much talked about.
Massive scale.
Indian Police Force is one of the biggest...
It's actually the most expensive show ever shot in India.
I heard around 200 crores.
Yeah, it's more than 200 crores. Much more than 200 crores. It's a very expensive show, shot on massive scale for Amazon Prime Video. And Rohit is a dream to work with.
You are playing a cop.
Yeah, so me, Siddharth, we have the lovely Shilpa Shetty, great team of fantastic actors, and it's fun to be part of the RCU, like the Marvel comics universe. We have the Rohit Cop universe. So it's fun to be a part of that, and shooting with Rohit was a dream. I really loved not only him, but his entire team, and the way they visualize action, the sequence that I shot. I think I shot a 5-day action sequence with him, which was all bare and just fists and, real and raw. Oof! Every day is to go back home, put 2 kgs of salt in a bathtub of water and just lie down and feel the pain go away.
But you have thinned down a lot.
I've thinned down because I put on weight for the show that I was doing for MX because he was an alcoholic, out of shape cop. And it was a story of him, how he's trying to get back.
Now you're mean,
and I had to
lean
play
cop.
And I had to play, not a mean lean cop. He's actually a good guy.
He's
actually a very good guy.
Okay.
So it's like the elder brother, younger brother relationship between him and Siddharth. They're like 2 guys. One's the senior cop, one's the junior cop, but they're more like family than cops. So that's the bonding between the 2 of them. And then now I'm shaping up. I have to lose more weight and gain more muscle for this film I start shooting in September.
Why is it that post-COVID, the Hindi cinema, that's Bollywood as it's known, is not commercially doing as well as the South Indian cinema, which you are also part of? What's your reason? What would you say?
I think in any relationship, if you take the other person for granted, the relationship is bound to fail. In a marriage, if a husband takes the wife for granted, doesn't appreciate her, doesn't care about what the wife wants, the marriage is going to get into a divorce. Bollywood is right now having trouble in their marriage with the audience. Because somewhere we have taken the audience for granted.
Okay.
Somewhere, we have taken the audience for granted, unfortunately. You have to give the audience the same love and respect they give you. They make us. The audience, the fans, they make us who we are. They are financing our dreams. The ability to go and make these great movies is being financed by them, ticket by ticket. Our existence as stars is because of them. If we are the stars, they are the light that make us sparkle. And we have forgotten that. So if you forget it, there's a problem. We were talking about Rohit Shetty 2 minutes ago. He makes a Suryavanshi and it becomes a blockbuster. It does 200, 300, whatever, 250, 300 crores business. I don't remember exactly how much, but globally blockbuster. Because he is constantly aware, committed, dedicated and concerned about what his audience expects, what the fans want. I think that is very, very strong in Southern cinema. Whether it's Tamil cinema, whether it's Telugu cinema, they have the humility, not the arrogance to take the audience for granted, but the humility to understand what their audience wants and the humility to accept when the audience rejects. With a bowed head, they say, we are sorry we disappointed you, we'll come back, we'll try better next time. We are unfortunately making the same mistake again and again and again in Hindi.
But
that will get covered.
What you are saying is that Hindi cinema lost its way because it was making a particular genre type of movies, which would some people say it's a multiplex type of movies, but they were not addressing the mass audiences in Tier 2 and Tier 3
It's
towns.
not just that. I mean, you could make a film that is meant for mass, but don't make it well. Then what? You know, you're trying to rinse and repeat. You're not trying to innovate. You're not trying to come up with something new, something different. And you look at KGF, it works because it's new, it's different. I mean, there are so many claptraps.
KGF and RRR.
Yeah.
They worked.
Yeah.
How did it work in interior northern India?
Yeah, it worked because at the end of the day, a story is a story is a story. You know, people in Russia and Turkey, when I travel, have seen my movies that I made in 2002, 3, 4 and say, oh, we loved that movie. If I ask, how did it work in Russia? How is Inside Edge being watched all over the world? How is Satya dubbed in
Vivekam is one of the most watched movies because it's dubbed in Hindi.
There you go. So the kind of fan following that we have is there. They'll still watch it. It just needs to be an entertaining cinema. Today, Squid Game is a Korean show.
Yeah.
But it's the most watched show on Netflix.
Yeah.
How? Because Netflix doesn't have the maximum audience in Korea. They have a global audience. In India also Squid Game got watched. In America also it got watched. How come? How come people went crazy about Squid Game and not any other show? You know what I'm saying? So I think it's about how well you make a story, how engaging it is, and how committed you are to that story. If you start looking at it purely as projects, oh, let's just do this and do this and do this and make it and package it and just, this is the money, this is the film, that is not going to work with an audience. An audience is connected to you by heart. You can't connect to them by mind and by wallet. You have to connect by heart.
So the Kadua type of movies addresses the audience.
Correct. I think, unfortunately, we have not had the chance. I was telling Prithvi after watching Kaduva, such a good movie, we were not able to distribute it widely in Hindi. Otherwise, I think that Kaduva would have been a blockbuster in Hindi and Prithiviraj would have been the next big southern star to become a national star because he's phenomenal in the film. I think this is one of his most amazing, larger-than-life performances. Prithiviraj, to me, is the Malayalam version of a young Kamal Haasan.
Okay. Yeah.
He is somebody who has the potential to act, direct, understand cinema in a holistic way, is able to do a very subtle, genuine, real performance like, say, Jana Gana Mana. And he's able to do a larger-than-life character like Kadua. He's able to do the whole
He's a
spectrum.
perfect mix of artist and the
So
star.
if you remember Kamal sir, he was able to do, what was the original version of Sadma?
Moonambre.
Moonambre. So he was able to do that also, and he was able to do Billa. No, Billa was Rajni sir.
Yeah.
He was able to do Sagalagala Vallavan.
Sagalagala.
So he was able to do the whole end of the spectrum.
So that's what you feel.
Yeah, I think that's what is Prithiviraj's USP. And I feel that he's just at the beginning of his superstardom.
Okay.
I think he will become a pan-India star very soon.
What about the influence of the streaming platforms,
Yeah.
OTT in
Yeah.
Hindi? You have lovely series.
Yeah.
And including the series that you are
Yes,
doing.
of course,
All
yes.
the series that you have come up.
Yes.
Is there audience have moved away from the theatres to the streaming platforms?
It will happen everywhere. It will happen even in Tamil audiences. It will happen in Telugu watching audiences. It will happen in Malayalam watching audiences. It is bound to happen. I feel there will be a little unsettling period where you will lose a lot of audience to the streaming platforms and the theatres will suffer a little bit. But I feel that it will eventually be divided into two kinds of viewing. Social viewing, where you go with groups, friends, your wife, a date, and you go and watch a movie in a theatre and have the whole experience of theatre. The popcorn, the going,
Yeah.
all
Theatre
of that.
experience will survive.
And the second will be the OTT experience, which will be more for your self-consumption. Today, even today, number of OTT subscribers watching on their mobile devices rather than the smart TV is much higher. Which basically says to me that OTT is a more personal experience. I'll put my headphones on, I'll put my phone up, I could be going to work, I could be taking a break at work, I could be traveling in a train, and I'm watching on OTT and I'm catching up stuff. What is going to mean for films is two things. One is, theatres have to be very sensible about the economics of theatres. If you keep making it more and more and more and more expensive as tickets go up higher, you're making it more out of reach. And that person, he may just turn around and say, I'll watch it for free on OTT because I'm paying barely maximum 1,000 rupees for subscription in a year. That's a maximum. So why should I go and spend 300 rupees, 400 rupees to watch one movie? If I go, I won't go alone. I'll take my wife, I'll take my family. That's 1,000 rupees for one film. I'd rather just take an OTT subscription and watch it 1 month later. What's the problem? So the die-hard fans will also start feeling the pinch. I think the biggest problem with theatres in India is we don't have enough distribution per capita. So if you look at China, we don't even have maybe 1/6 or 1/7 of their
China has
screens.
40,000 theatres also. We have about 10,000.
You're still talking about theatres.
Screens.
Imagine the screens. Number of screens and the penetration of screens in America, in China, all these places is so much more. We need to achieve larger number of screens. We are at least short by, I feel, 2 to 3 times the number of screens. If you make those economics work, new screens, inexpensive, if government charges so much tax on cinema, on theatres. Imagine if the government was to put that to support the film industry and to support the arts and crafts, not just unanimously saying you can't increase the price from this much. That's a populist idea. If I would say the real support would be like how they have done in China, put up exhibition units yourself. You own the land, put up screens everywhere. Show films, make money from the films, let that money go to government also, that's tax-free returns for them. Like we pay a share for theatres, we can pay rental or share for government theatres. And government can show educational films also in times where commercial films are not going on. They can do upskilling classes. They can use that same infrastructure for so many things.
Sure. What is your next big venture in South India?
Nothing right now. I haven't planned anything in South India right now because...
Are you getting feelers from anybody?
Oh yeah, I get calls all the time, I get offers all the time. But for me, when I leave the comfort of Hindi and come to another language, I need to feel that same love and comfort working with somebody. When I worked with Ram Charan, he took care of me like this, When I worked with Ajith Anna, he took care of me personally. So it was such a wonderful experience, working with him. Sandil, who was the producer, Siva, who was the director. They really treated me so nicely. When I work with Prithiviraj, I don't have to think of anything. I just close my eyes. I don't even know tomorrow where we are going, what the schedule is. right? I've left it to them. They take care of me like that. So I prefer working with people who have that relationship with, who have that comfort with.
So you have to have a wavelength with the producers and the actors.
That doesn't mean I'll never work with somebody. I mean, I remember when Shankar sir got in touch with me for a project some time back. I just wanted to do it because it was Rajni sir, and I'd never worked with him. And I said, one day I want to just be in the same frame as him, because somewhere aside from the star I am today, I'm also a fan who grew up watching Rajni sir. So someday I'd love to do a film with him at some point, right? Chiranjeevi sir. I'd love to do a film with him at some point, be in the same frame with a legend like him. So from that perspective, of course, Kamal sir, I've never worked with Kamal sir.
Tell us about your family, because you on Insta, you go
Correct, yes.
crazy.
Well, yeah, my family life is beautiful, very fulfilling, and I think that's what gives me the stability. When people say, how come you're always smiling? I'm always smiling because that stability, that joy at home is like a blessing. Every time you go from the stress of life, everybody has stress at work, you may have some, I have some, everybody's watching this, everybody has some stress at home. Your family is like your little piece of heaven. When you go back, it's your de-stress, especially when you have kids and the way they give you that love, the way your wife takes care of you, the children, they take care of you, emotionally, I mean. And that's the beauty. I mean, in a traditional family, you generally have the man taking care of the needs, the materialistic needs. But in return, the love, the emotional needs that they get fulfilled, I think that's a fantastic
Your
bargain.
daughter has brought a new meaning into your life?
Yeah, my son, my daughter, both. With my son, it's more like a buddy relationship, right? We go, we play football, we do a lot of things together.
Mention his name.
Vivan. So my son Vivan Veer, which his name translates to warrior of light. Somebody who fights the darkness, and that's what I want, for his life to be. And my daughter's name is Ameya Nirvana. So Ameya is in the Lalita Sahasranama. I don't know if you know the chant.
Yeah.
So and the meaning of Ameya Nirvana is basically she who is limitless and can embrace the whole universe. So I wanted to give names to them. I sat and worked on finding these names for them. Of course, I had to take the approval of the boss, which is my wife. But I worked on it because I feel names have a lot of meaning, and that meaning adds to the quality of that life. Like my parents named me Vivekanand, and they named me Vivekanand for a reason. So they named me Vivek, being conscious, being able to listen to your inner voice. And Anand is the true sense of bliss that comes from it. I think the charitable work that I do, I think the social impact work that I do, that I have been doing for 2 decades now, that is giving me real purpose and real joy. So, and that comes from that influence of that name.
Tell us about, during the tsunami, you helped a lot of people in Tamil Nadu.
Yeah.
Where has it reached?
Well, it was one of the most amazing, difficult, yet rewarding experiences of my life. Because the kind of time, energy, effort, my career having to take a back seat, I actually ended up returning the signing amount for a movie that I had signed, cancelling that shoot, and being here with the commitment of having to rebuild that village. Originally, I went in just with the thought of some amount of relief work, just to help. But it eventually expanded into so much because of the love that people gave me. They didn't even know who I was. They used to call me Nadigaranna. They'd never seen my work. It went into a lot of waves. It got political. Then I tried to solve that issue. But at the heart of it, at the core of it, I went in with a good intent. And when you go in with a good, selfless intent, the universe helps you. The God Almighty, the universe, whatever that power that you believe in whichever way that you worship it, it comes down to help you. And I think that helped me complete that project successfully. And we ended up helping 2 more villages, making them into smart villages. And the idea always was, and that's what I continue to do even today, because after that immediately I started another project in North India, in Vrindavan, called Project Devi. And Devi is an acronym. The full form of Devi is Development and Empowerment of Vrindavan Girls Initiative, DEVI. And there we ended up saving, over the last 14 years, more than 12,000 girls from physical abuse, sexual abuse, child prostitution, being sold. Ended up saving them from that. So all the things that I learned from that experience during the tsunami taught me that it is about empowering people to manage themselves. You can't sit and spoon feed or have any sense of authority or ownership and say, I run it. It is my trust, my name. It is my property. You should never do that. I personally don't believe in doing that. I believe you do something for somebody, you empower them, you make that committee of elders. Like at that point, I remember getting all the elder women involved, because I truly believe, and I don't know if men will like this comment or not, but I believe that women are better administrators and organizers. If I had to, I remember during COVID, I had to manage in the house. And until then, I never appreciated how much work Priyanka, my wife, does at home. Only during COVID, I realized, oh my God, there is so much work at home. How do you do it all by yourself? So I appreciated that. I feel that if women ruled the world, we would have no wars. They would be focused on malnourished children. They would be focused on security. They would be focused on growth. They would be focused on good things. It's like Kadua, right? The men, it's all about ego and war and fighting and destruction. Whereas women are creators. That is why God chose them to give birth.
Does Vivek Oberoi, will he join politics?
No.
But you're closely associated with the ruling party.
That's just a perception. I have friends across all political parties, and I am completely apolitical as an individual. My focus is social impact. So, for example, if I'm doing something now in Tamil Nadu, and if the current Chief Minister, who is really trying to support something wonderful that I am trying to do here for selflessly, for poor people or farmers or some effort that I'm putting in, and if he blesses it and supports it, I'll be thankful and grateful to him. I'll stand on the same stage and say what a wonderful job that person has done. So for me, it is about the greater good that I want to be a small part of. And if all these great personas can push that, great. I personally don't want to be part of any politician and political structure, because I believe that your focus shifts from the good that you can do, the impact you can create, to a larger play of politics, which is the party's ideas, the party line, having to be a good soldier for the party. You have to follow the orders of the party. All of that is very difficult to do. Whereas the energy that I put in towards creating impact, now I'm doing something fantastically exciting. I built startups that have positive social impact. So we built a company called FinancePeer, which now helps 30 lakh students get interest-free financing for their education. And it's a big success story. Working with a fantastic new startup called AgriBid, which is the objective is to double farmer income, and work with governments, work with non-government organizations, work with FPOs, work with international trade organizations to increase the productivity and the actual revenue of the farmers. I'm working with an organization called Ready Assist, because I feel that today ladies, when they're riding a bike or a car in the middle of the night, if they have a breakdown, there is no number they can call. Who will they call? Who will support them? Who will create that convenience and safety factor? So these kind of companies are social impact for-profit companies. They're for-profits. They're not non-profits. They're for-profits. They're companies. But I want to create a conscious capitalism. You know, capitalism, profit, but with a heart.
Great. Are you a foodie?
Totally.
Did you go with Ajith sir in his bike?
Yeah, I did actually. We were overseas and we went, while we were shooting in the Serbia schedule, we went riding. He's a fantastic rider. He's really, really amazing.
Okay. What type of food do you like?
Oof, I love South Indian food. Because my memory of good food is when I come home and my mother makes really nice, fresh South Indian food. You know, when the dosa batter has been done. Even my wife, she does a great job. So whether it's making fresh dosas, whether it's making that proper typical coconut chutney. Here, when I come, my mother's elder sister, my Perima, she makes the world's best pal kolam. And that taste is something else. And my mouth is watering right now. So generally to go to her.
What about Punjabi food, man?
I like Punjabi food, but personally I prefer South Indian food. I think the flavors, the kind of options that you get, like if you go to Karnataka, my favorite is bisibelle.
Bisibelle bath.
So I love that bisibelle bath. Here, if you go to different parts itself, you know, you'll find different types of idlis. You can have maybe 16 or 17 different kinds of idlis, you know, with the kind of, and dosas. So I remember when I was shooting with Manianna for Yuva, we went to Sarvanabhavan over here, and literally I told him I want to go to the original place, the authentic location, and eat with everybody. He said there'll be a crowd. I said no problem, let's go. And we actually sat in Sarvanabhavan and ate. So that taste and flavor of the local food is something else.
Fantastic talking to you, and all the best for Kadua.
Pleasure. Thank you so much.
Poomer Premium Handkerchief.